All right. Hey, welcome to another episode of Over Caffeinated with Trevor. This time we are in a studio with the one and only David Hills. David, cheers.
Cheers.
To that coffee, because it's over caffeinated. We need to have some coffee in us. This week's episode, we are drinking from a local roaster, Seventh Coffee. You can find them at the Brantford Food Mart. That's where I picked this up, and I believe that they deliver as well. Really good coffee. They've got multiple blends available. They do even have decaf if you need that, Dave.
I don't know what that means.
Neither do I for those long days. So David is here because David does something that not a lot of people are doing well, and he's here to show people who have started maybe their website and are focusing on some areas, maybe in the social media spot, but have forgotten to look at their Google business profile, just how we can enhance it so that the local audience, specifically if you're delivering to them, can find you, can call you, and most important, can order from you. So Dave, why don't you introduce who you are to the audience, let them know a little bit about you, and then we'll get into asking some questions.
David Hills, run my own business called D Hills Sales. And for the last few years, I've been really focusing on helping people with, it used to be called Google My Business. It's now called Google Business Profiles. So many small companies don't know that they can rank in local search right up there with the largest corporations. I'm talking the one with that yellow M and the hamburgers and all those companies, and even the small coffee places, they can rank right up with the top businesses in the world in their local area. So your local search engine optimization, I know you help with search engine optimization for your clients, but the local SEO is a little different, and there's actually a separate decision-making software for local than there is for the worldwide search, because we don't want the pizza place or the coffee roaster in California. We want to help support our local businesses.
Right, and just so that everyone understands, when we're talking the Google Business Profile and ranking, that primarily is what you're going to see in the mapping. So if you do a search for coffee roasters in Brantford or that, you will see that, hey, you know what? The map shows up and then the businesses, and then you can click on them. And that's primarily where you'll see a lot of the attributes that were in the GMB have pulled over. Your reviews, your pictures, and all that is just some things are no longer there. So that's what we are going to be talking about today when we talk about Google Business Profile and how we can help you, or more importantly, how David can help you take it to that next level. So, Dave, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. I'm excited because I was talking to myself for months, and then I did Zoom calls to have some interviews, and you are my first official person in-house to have in the studio here. So I'm quite excited. It's going to be weird that I'm having to turn this way to talk, but I think we'll make do with that.
I think we will too. And thanks again to Seventh Coffee Company.
Yep.
Thanks for the great Colombian brew. Looking forward to enjoying the rest of this cup today.
And, I just want to point this out too. If you do go there, this one here, the Columbia, it's called Women Asmu Cafe. And every bag that you purchase, they're donating $5 to help support initiatives to get women out of traffic positions down in Columbia. Great bunch of guys.
So product with a benefit as well then.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So let's take us back. Why don't we start with the GMB quickly and bring it forward?
Yeah. Well, what the Google profile is Google understands, as I mentioned earlier, we don't want the coffee company in California, or when we're searching for pizza in Brantford here, we don't want the pizza company in California. We want to know the best pizza company in our area. And one way that Google uses to choose us, and kind of the primary way, is the amount of information in a Google profile. Some businesses have set it and forget it. Some businesses take advantage of all the features, and all of a sudden they start going a little bit higher, even against the mega corporations.
And just to interrupt, we're going to be getting into that a little bit later. We're going to drill down into each of the features that you can take advantage of as a business owner, and you don't have to go to college to have a college degree on updating a website. No. I always say, if you can update and post on Facebook, you can do this.
Oh, definitely. This is Actually, to be honest, this is easier than Facebook or Meta right now because when you get into the behind the scenes stuff, it gets very confusing managing your own social page. Google has made it so that you can easily update your profile either on your mobile device or on the desktop. Some features are more usable or more able to update effectively on your desktop or laptop computer. Some features like the photos we'll be talking about in a little bit. It's actually best to upload it directly from your device, your mobile device.
All right. So,
And the most important way to start is your legal company name.
yes. Well, David, you are jumping ahead of me.
Uh-oh.
So,
What did I go?
no. That was it. So, first and foremost, the name, which is most important. Talk about that because sometimes people like to change their name. Sometimes they use a name that they go by. It's not their legal name, but it's just a name that everyone knows them by. And then sometimes they game the system, shall we speak. So talk about the importance of using that legal name and as well as the address. Let's throw that in, and then talk about why you don't want to use other names, i.e., names that people know you by, or you don't want to disrupt and try to game the system.
Well, when you're trying to get verification or if you get suspended for whatever reason, if you're not using the name that's on your Ontario government registration, Google will not allow you to get re-verified. So you should be using your legal government name. You could also use an operated as.
Yep.
But you've got to say, you don't want to say John's Roofing, the best roofing company in Brantford, Ontario.
Which
Because
in larger cities, we don't tend to see it too much in Brantford, but in larger cities, that is what you'll see. A company from Hamilton, because you're from Hamilton, much larger city than we are from. If it's say a bakery, they might have the name of it might have Dave's Bakery dash Hamilton's Best Bakery, which is a approved or a no-no.
that's a no-no because they wouldn't, unless they actually had their name changed to Hamilton's Best Bakery,
Yeah.
somebody else, whether it's a competition or even a customer, Google always asks when people are doing reviews or checking out on maps when they're signed in, they ask for reconfirmation. And this is a little scary and horrifying, but Google actually trusts customers more than business owners.
Strangers, more, yeah, that is odd. So the business name should match your legal name.
And the name on your exterior signage as well. So if your exterior signage is different than your Google business profile name, Google can actually see that because they drive all the way around and they can see the names on the signs.
And I should point this out as well. One of the things that's new to the Google business profile that you're seeing more and more as opposed to the GMB. The GMB, they would send you a postcard. More and more, I'm seeing video verification. And in those video verifications that we do, we have to then have a business license and then a bill to the customer's name in their name on the video that you're recording for Google so that they verify it. So if you've called yourself, Dave's Bakery, Hamilton's Best Bakery, and you cannot produce that or show that, then they might not show that listing of you on their listings.
Once you get suspended, your listing can actually be pulled and hidden from customers until you get re-verified. If you've fibbed or if a customer has edited your name or your contact information, and actually that's a really important thing too. You do want to log in periodically just to make sure that everything's good. I recommend at least once a week, once every 2 weeks on the outside, just to make sure that your information is correct, and that, oh, by the way, Google will update without telling you.
Yes, they will.
So if you don't have the correct name, Google can take information or verification from customers and correct your profile. It's not actually owned by you. It's owned by Google. Google is helping you rank higher.
Yeah, so that's a great segue. Because here's a couple things that I hear, and you can clear this up. Customer says, Dave, all those pictures that you put up, I don't see anything. I don't even see me listed. Then you say, well, what are you using? And they say, well, I have my iPhone, and I'm using, Safari actually pulls in Google now. I have Edge. So I have Edge on my computer, and I'm pulling in Bing business listings. Not the same as your Google business profile. We tend to think as a society that Google is the internet. It's easy to think that way. But when, as David said, Google owns the database that you're entering your information in. Ergo, it's Google's database. It's Google's directory. If you're wondering why Bing is not showing what you did in Google, well, that's a simple answer. Why is that, David?
Because they're owned by Microsoft.
There you go. And that's your Bing Places. That's what it's called, isn't it?
And there's also Apple Business Connect for Apple Maps, which is another completely separate listing.
Silver bullet tip here. If people keep going to a wrong address for you, the last one people check is the Apple Maps because nobody uses them except for that one person that keeps going to your wrong address and you keep looking and you can't find it. It happened to us. And we're like, where are you finding this? And then we went to Apple Maps and it's like, oh my goodness, Apple has this listed in a previous address. So it's a matter of just using your map and dragging it. It was very easy. But yeah, you have 3 listings. For this conversation, we are going to be keeping it with Google. So you're using your Google on your phone or on your or Chrome on your phone or on your desktop. That's what we're talking. And more importantly, it's really meant for a local audience, so it's mobile driven.
Yeah, the mobile, when you're uploading content, when you're uploading posts, mobile is predominantly used, especially for Google Maps. You can take a look at the insights on your page, and I know I'm getting a little ahead there. Yep. You can take a look at your insights, though, and the vast majority of people, even more conservative industries like law firms, the vast majority of businesses are searched more on people's mobile devices than they are on a laptop or a desktop.
Yep. All right, so let's keep this wagon moving.
Okay.
Categories. Another very important choice that you have to make because you could fall into multiple categories. And which one is your primary?
Well, you want to take a look at your competition because likely you're not the only business in town that does what you do, or even if in neighboring towns, if you're in a smaller city or municipality. But you want to make sure that your primary category is in line with the primary focus of your business. So your primary category is one of the top ranking factors. So when somebody types pizza shop, if you also make lasagna, you don't want to say pasta shop if your primary business is pizza. Even though you may sell it, you can actually add subsequent categories up to 9 more categories. But your primary category, you want to take a look at your direct competition, see what they're using, and see if that's the exact category you want to use. And one of these things as well, it's not something you can change on a weekly basis. If you keep changing your primary category like every day of the week, eventually Google's going to think there's a bit of a red flag, somebody's trying to game the system, and that's where we get back into the suspension and potential need for re-verifying the profile.
Yeah, and it is the subtle changes and nuances. If you're a fence and deck guy, some people go under contractor, and that because they want. But if people are looking for a specific type of contractor or a specific type of fence and deck, you want to make sure why this is important is that you show up on the search that people are searching for.
And the reason being is how many different kinds of contractors are there?
An arm's length full.
So contractor would probably be one of the least likely terms I would ever use, just like manufacturing. I have a client that does manufacturing. The problem is manufacturing is about 1,000 different verticals. You're not giving Google enough information to choose you for your direct business.
Oh, here's a good one, because we can also have additional categories. And I know you have a lot of experience with this, so I'm going to pull from your knowledge. Dave, I forgot to tell you, when you signed the ledger to sign in today, you're sharing some good secrets. Automotive garages. Automotive garage could do wheel balances, could do brake alignments, could do oil changes. They could do a tune-up. They could fix your air conditioning. They could do service. And again, because I know you've worked with a number of automotive things, you could see your name show up and then not show up if you start changing categories.
Oh, definitely.
Which could be thousands of dollars.
A client of mine had someone helping them manage their Google business as an ancillary service, and all of their categories got changed, including a category that meant something in another country different than it means in Canada. So this business was changed from auto repair shop to ATV repair, which meant in that other country meant all the vehicles. And immediately they disappeared from search results. It took about a month to 3 months, from a month to 3 months until they were finally back to their same level of engagement and calls. But for the average business, that could mean tens of thousands of dollars or more lost simply because the people that were doing it. And this is why, working with the local business is helpful. There's different terminology in California and British Columbia than there is here in Ontario.
You and I work together on a company that works in the sanitation space. In Canada, we call it garbage. In the U.S., they call it trash. So it's knowing those colloquialisms and that what do people call it? Because if you just went across the board and call it garbage, well, then, hey, you're not going to be showing up in the U.S.
And that's what was happening with this business is they weren't they wanted their primary term to be the same across North America, even though, as you and I both know, the U.S. market's slightly larger than the Canadian market.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. So we've gone through categories. So choose your top category first, your primary, and then your subcategories.
Up to 9 more supporting categories.
There you go. So up to 9 more. And that's so, again, like David mentioned, in the contracting space, there's a lot in there. So you could be an electrical contractor. So then you're also under electrician. Then you could be under lighting. You could be under bathroom fan repair. You could be under, pool, electrical for hot tub and pool. Like there's so many things that you could fall under. You want to make sure that you have all those subcategories. Now, the difference between categories and services.
So services are dependent. Google actually will suggest services depending on what primary category and your supporting categories you're using.
Oh, and Google's always right.
They're right until you correct them.
Ah, there you go.
So you can delete services, and actually, you and I have gone through this before. Google Ads services. If you have
it's a 12-rounder.
If you have the word craft in your business saying that you craft websites, then Google could actually add craft services, which in the movie industry means you're a caterer.
Yep, totally different.
You don't do catering?
We don't. Well, I brought you coffee.
Thank you.
So services. You select the services when you initially sign up. You can add services, but Google will go and behind the scenes add services for you.
And they take a look at your website and add services that are relevant from when they've scanned your website. But those services and those service titles aren't always what the local customers want or the local customers are searching for. So Google, as part of the insights or the analytics, they actually show you what words your brand is showing up for or your profile is showing up for. But there could be other words that you want. Let's say you were like the best alignment shop. We'll just stick with automotive for a sec. You are the best alignment shop. You had the most modern equipment in the Brantford area. You would want alignment an alignment service and whatever other keywords that you'd want to go through Google search and go through some of the other tools to find out what people search for. They could be searching for not driving straight. So you could even put in a service fixing not driving straight. So sometimes the longer service terms are actually more effective, especially if you know that people are searching for a certain term.
So I was going to go somewhere. This we don't have on our list today, but I'm going to jump here really quickly Dave, for you. The insights. So the insights is the analytics in the back end of it. Will your Google business profile show the insights for what people are searching for, what they actually typed in to find you?
Yes. So part of the insights, if you go down to the very bottom when you click on the insights, on the right side of the column, they'll show you the top search terms, and they'll show you about 5 or 6, and then you want to click see more to see the rest of the search terms. They actually go up to 100 for some businesses. So somebody like yourself who has a wide range of services, there could be a wide range of things that your Google profile shows up for.
Okay.
Here at Smashing Pixels. So the insights and what Google is sending, or the reason why, or the search intent that Google determines that they need to send somebody to your business. So if you're the best Smashing Pixels is the best website service in Brantford. Do you say website?
My mom says that.
Or do you say website developer? Or do you say new website?
It's a daily battle.
Okay, so
because I think the last number that was posted, and this of course is a paintbrush number way up here, but if there's 100 searches for a service that you offer, 60 will be unique and different.
Okay.
And so that means that 40 will be the same. So web developers or website developers in Brantford, that's a generic one. But then you have all the different ones. Could be, a retail website developer. Could be
e-commerce.
It could be e-commerce. It could be web agencies in Brantford, web agencies near me. Yeah, like the list just goes on and on and on. So it's up to us to keep maintaining that, to make sure that if people are searching this, we want to talk about what they're searching
And
for.
there's a client I work with that does shutters. They specialize in shutters and the rolling shutters that come down.
California shutters, all that kind of stuff.
California, Bahama shutters. There's all kinds of them. Some of them are for
I
security.
know my shutters. So
Some are for security. Some of them are for to make your house look nicer. But if people don't search for the terms that Google's suggesting, you actually want to type in, as you said, California shutters. That's a style of shutter. Bahama shutters is another style. The rolling shutters for security, that's another name. So there's those. You can actually use a brand name and say brand name. It can use California Shutters Installation, California Shutters Design.
yeah, nice.
As all of your services, and then see what can happen. And this is actually kind of exciting. This is where I like having fun with Google profiles. If somebody is regularly searching that, Google will actually put on your phone or on your search device, they'll put services provided California shutter installation if you search for that.
And what our audience at home has to understand is that Google is testing daily, hourly, and by the minute, every single search term. You could show up on one search term and not on the next one. Don't get worried. This Google, they're just organizing things to find out where do you fit best. If you do,
There's one really cool thing that just happened recently.
I'm going to have you look into the camera and tell this to people, because this could be that one of those
exciting.
moments.
So, if a pizza place isn't open, do you want to order pizza from there?
No.
Okay.
If I come out of a show, it's 11 o'clock, I'm looking for a pizza place, I want to put in my phone the pizza place, and I want to have them show me the 3 that are open, not 2 that are closed and 1 that's open.
So what's happened recently is Google is now differentiating in real-time search results depending on whether a business is open.
What does that mean in layman's terms,
Okay,
David?
basically,
To the camera.
if there's 5 pizza shops in Brantford and 3 of them are closed, some of them are, let's say some are only open for the dinner hour. If you're having a pizza party at Smashing Pixels here, by the way, there's a great idea for your team. Have a pizza party
There
for
you
lunch. If you're having a pizza party for lunch, but 2 of those shops don't open until dinner, Google will prioritize the shops that are open.
Ooh, so what that means and why that's important for our listeners at home, if you're searching for your business, service, or product and you're not open, so say it's a Sunday and say you just open for dinner on a Sunday, just in your pizza shop, and your Sunday afternoon you're searching, you're like, why am I not showing up? It's because you are closed. So Google prioritizes based on, as David just said, when you are open and when you're not. Here's a tough one though, Dave, and I'm going to have you look to the camera and answer this one. Well, I'm busy during the day. I've got some searches. I'm going to search them while I'm sitting on the couch after hours, probably after 9 o'clock. And I'm searching for, I don't know, a lawyer. A lawyer, because I'm going to sell my house. There's not a lot of lawyers that are open. There might be the 24-hour phone number that might come up, but there's not a lot of lawyers that are open. Have they figured out that?
Not yet. What's happened, though, is a few businesses and a few law firms actually have said, hey, we're open 24 hours because we have an answering machine. What ends up happening is the people leave negative reviews, and people don't like getting negative reviews. We haven't gotten into reviews yet.
That's on the list.
And not only can they leave you a negative review, they can edit your business hours for you.
Yes, they can.
So if you have 5 customers say your business hours aren't 24 hours because they got into a car accident and couldn't talk to somebody at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night, they then change your hours saying 9 to 5. You want to make sure that your hours are consistent, not only on your Google profile, on your website, and to actually service clients. Because if you get too many hits against your Google profile, Google will keep changing back your hours.
And this is a very important tip when Google sends you an email that says, hey, based on customer feedback, we've updated your Google business profile. Open it up and see what was changed. If you just go, it's Google sending me spam again, it might not be. It could be that you had to accidentally close early one day and somebody said, they're not open, and then somebody else came by and said that they're not open, Google then says, oh, they must not be open.
And Google could even make you temporarily closed.
Yeah, hours on GMB, because you manage lots, we manage handfuls. We see them change all the time, and then we'll get a call to say, hey, our hours have changed. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. Did you get a notification? Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you about that. We go back in and we have to submit to Google. As the business owner, you have to submit to Google, and it's not automatically changed.
And your website, your Google profile, again, as we mentioned earlier, is not yours. It's Google's. So Google is giving you the ability to be seen at the top of the website or at the top of the search results page on mobile, and also at the top of search results if your brand is searched on desktop, and then on mobile it's at the top of search results. It's not yours. You still have to work within their rules. If you fib to them, you can lose authority. And if you lose authority and prominence, you won't appear as high, and you won't be getting the calls quite as often.
All right, so we've gone past what I'm dubbing the NAPWE, the name, address, phone number, website, and we didn't say email, but I threw that one in. But really quickly, we just talked a little bit about hours. Again, if your hours on your website conflict with the hours that you submitted to your GMB, they could say, well, hold on a second, we just read the website. There's either a conflict, or they could change it.
Yeah, quite often they just change it, and sometimes they change it without even telling you.
So just make sure again that your website matches your Google Business Profile,
and not just for your hours, but the spacing on your of the address on your website, and the spacing of your address as your contact information on your Google Business Profile need to be identical. If there's an extra period, sometimes people don't put a period after the short form for street or avenue, ST or AVE.
That's or boulevard, or an address if you're in a unit. So if you're 1- so we're 25B, and that. But if we were say unit 1 in where we are, does Google have that as 25 King Street Unit 1, or do they have it as 1-25? The easiest way to do, I always say this to everyone, is just type in the address in Google, and whatever Google says, you copy and paste that exactly onto your website, exactly into every directory that you submit yourself with. Don't go off gung-ho and thinking, oh, we're going to just, put this everywhere, and then you're just kind of...
Or don't have that new person come in and edit a whole lot of citations and do it the way they want.
Because as the human, 25 King Street Unit 1, 1-25 King Street, 25-1 King Street, as the human, we will all figure out where to go. But as the hold on a second, I'm getting a call from my broker. No, I'm not. But as a computer, it's GIGO. It's
garbage in, garbage out.
It's ones and zeros, and that's it, and it has to match.
So your address should be exactly the same on your website, with the exact same spacing and the exact same hyphenation or no hyphens as it is on your Google profile. Your email, your website should all be exact. Your call to action buttons are right at the top on both desktop and on mobile. So that's the easiest way. And sometimes Google doesn't even want people to go to websites. They just want to be able to track how you're contacted. So Google positions those very strategically and tactically from their point of view, which isn't always the best thing for us. But they want the exact information as quickly as possible, and they want to answer everyone's search intent as quickly as possible. And that's how they do that. So if you're inconsistent, that's not going to be as helpful for you.
So there's a new term called, and before we segue on, there's a new term called rank 0 or page 0. And essentially what that means is, as Dave just said, Google you don't need to go to a website anymore to get an address, to get some information, to find out what they do. And it's not that Google's stopping you. Google is incredibly efficient. If you're moving around and all that, it has to track all that stuff. But if you're just looking for address, are they open? What do they serve? And all that, Google wants to give that to you in a snapshot. And that because moving into the future, it's how fast can I get this information? So that's why it's equally as important when you're updating your website that you make sure that your Google Business Profile is updated. And David, now we're on to the fun, exciting stuff. adding information to it. We want to talk about images, reviews, posts, and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, exciting stuff. The number one thing and the most important thing isn't the content that the business owners add. The number one thing is the content that your customers add. Google wants user-generated content. They want photos from your customer. They want reviews from your customer. And they don't want just the 5 stars, the 5-star endorsement. They want text, descriptive text, how happy they are with your service, whether they like the products, whether they felt good at the end of it. So the longer reviews, good or unfortunately sometimes bad reviews, the longer reviews are the ones they like the most. And it can literally be hundreds, if not over 1,000 characters, which isn't always applicable. You know, like if we had a hamburger later, you know, great hamburger, great service, we'll be back again sometime soon, might be a review. But Google actually likes over 200 characters at minimum for each review. And now people can also add photos and videos to their review.
So unless you're a nerd like David and I, who we continually challenge to see who can get the top picture on a business, it's hard to get customers to do that. Sometimes people will just hit 5-star reviews. Sometimes people will hit a 5-star and they'll say something like great place. There's no context there. Google wants context. Now, that what they are doing though is they're organizing their reviews based on search. So if I'm searching for a pizza place that has, you know, best pizza and lasagna, because we want to order pizza and lasagna, and there's a review in there that might mention pizza and lasagna, me being the searcher for that, I might just see that review. But if you're looking, if you yourself, Dave, are looking for pizza places that sell calzones, you might see a review with calzones. Am I correct?
And not only that, but there actually will have a picture of a calzone or a picture of lasagna that somebody has posted at the top of the profile. Now it's not necessarily the photos with the reviews. You don't necessarily see the exact same photo with the review, but Google understands a lot about photos that are uploaded. And if they recognize a picture of lasagna, they'll actually put a picture of lasagna at the top of the search result for that business. Or even a short video of somebody happily eating some lasagna.
I was in, I forget where I was. I was in a juice place, and it had said, thank you very much for allowing us to serve you today. We would love for you to give us a Google review. And it had a little QR code there, and it was nice and neat. Now they,
Did you enjoy the juice?
I enjoyed the juice. I gave them a review, and then I did a video of the piece of paper that they had up. But then they said, we'd love for you to leave us a 5-star review. So I don't know if that's in the TOC's terms of condition.
You can ask. You just can't give the client a benefit.
Hey, leave us a 5-star review and get a free topping on your next juice. You can't do that.
That would be against Google's terms of service, and you could be penalized for that.
Yeah,
so you can reward your staff for asking for reviews, or for being more creative or being more effective in asking for reviews, but you cannot reward the person that's leaving their review.
Okay, so Dave, I'm going to get you to look to the camera again and say that, because that's an Instagrammable moment. Talk about rewarding for building reviews with the cut. You can ask your team to do it, but you don't want to ask.
So a tip for business owners, if you've got a larger staff or even a mid-sized staff, is you can reward your coworkers or your staff for asking for reviews or getting named in reviews, but you can't reward your customers for giving you a 5-star review. That's the problem. It's against Google's terms of service for you to offer a benefit for people giving you a 5-star review. How's that?
That's perfect, Dave.
Awesome.
I'm cutting that one out, and we're slapping that one up. So, and building reviews. I know that there's folklore. I think that's the wives' tale that he with the most reviews is always on top.
That used to be true, but if there's 3 companies in town, one has 500 reviews, but they haven't had a review added in 6 months. The new company on the block, they're getting all the business now. They're getting 5 reviews a week. They're 5-star reviews. They're descriptive. They're talking about the products or the foods that you're ordering. They can actually slowly beat out the business with 5-star reviews because the reviews are more recent and they're more often. So the recency and the speed of getting reviews is actually just as important as having, and actually more important than having 500 reviews from 5 years ago.
Which really then goes into Google's play right now, which is intent and relevancy. And that. So with intent and relevancy, now I'm looking at the camera here. With intent and relevancy, Google wants things to be fresh and new and current. So as we just learned here from David, if you are up against a company that has 500 reviews and you have 25 reviews, do not fret, my friends. Continue to get those reviews that are relevant for the customer that is searching. And the customer searching is anyone searching on Google or anyone that could be your customer, and that because they have the intent. And does your relevancy match their intent? And if so, then Google passes you on some authority and they start to lift you up, as opposed to the team that has 350 or 500 positive reviews, but those were from last summer and the summer before and the summer before. Because what happens is Google doesn't realize, hey, are you still delivering good service to these customers? They don't know that because Dave's Roofing, all these companies you're going to be running and owning, Dave's Roofing Company is hot and heavy. Now, Dave's smart too. Dave didn't go out and get 500 reviews in one day because that might throw a red flag up in the air. Dave has incentivized
increased
his team to slowly bring them in because, and that's a normal thing. You can incentivize your team to do it. Google understands that, you know what, on times when there's a concert or a food show and people could come to the food show and leave 200-300 reviews that day, they know that these spikes will happen. But if you go from 0 to 500 back down to 0, they're going to figure out that something's amiss.
And what they do is it's actually known as filtering reviews. So I had one client, all of a sudden they got 10 reviews in a week, and their clients actually came in and said, here, I left the review. Well, Google filtered it out because there were too many. The month before they had 0 reviews. The month before that they had 2 reviews. The next week they had 10 reviews. That's an inconsistency. So if they get ramped up a little slowly, that's better than getting 10 or 20 reviews in a week that when they haven't gotten any for months.
So what you're saying is Google's using some of their AI to measure and watch what's happening online.
I think Google's been using AI since before it was called artificial intelligence.
Oh, they've you were just sharing a story. I forget where we were with a group of people where you took a picture with your wife when you were in Vegas.
Yep.
And Google was rolling out. They were testing their AI to check sentiment
Yes.
and intent and relevancy. And it's in Dave in all of his glory with a race car helmet. Were you in a Porsche?
It was on a track. It was a Porsche. Yep.
It was in a Porsche. There's a lot of labels, a lot of stickers, but we put it through the filter, and it came out that it said the sentiment was that Dave was happy. So it said happy person. It could tell that it was a race car. It could tell what type of wheels it had. It could read all the stickers.
Color on the color of the car.
The color of the car. There was a sticker on your helmet, and I'm going to say that was minimum 5 years ago that we were doing that test.
Yeah, that was about 2019, 5 years ago now.
Yes, because it could also tell the difference between learning plants and all that kind of stuff, and that because there was a picture of a mojito next to a can that had plants in it, and it was trying to figure out was one a drink. So it's well ahead of us. It's using that same tech to understand how we are doing business, and if we change, there's nothing wrong with that. But as long as we change and we pivot and we continue in that direction, i.e., no reviews, 10 reviews, no reviews, that's not what you want. It's no reviews, 10 reviews, 2 reviews the next week, 2 reviews the next week, 3 reviews the week after, maybe 0 for a couple weeks and then back at it, then you're good. But it's those spikes that will filter out.
It's the spikes. And Google understands there are some people apparently in this world that will try to game the system.
Yep.
And, whether it's using a certain software or a certain AI software to write all the content on your website, and then last month the entire website disappeared off of Google. So there's a lot of things as well. You want to write your Google content and your descriptions and your Google updates as a person, not as keyword, awesome.
Correct. Yeah, and don't just use ChatGPT because it can sniff that out quickly.
That was the AI I was talking about.
Oh yeah. Okay. A couple times I've been on doing some searches and I've noticed and this is for our people who are selling a product or a service. I've noticed that at the top of some of the Google business profiles, that it shows a maybe a product or service and a value beside it, and that is that being phased out, or is that something that's still in with the Google business profile?
The products are still there. You can add and Google likes products because they have a photo, and they actually put products fairly prominently. If it's relevant to the search result, they can move the product section up to the top of your profile as well. So if you're looking for an oil filter, that could be moved up to the top as long as Google understands that that image is an oil filter and the description and the product title are oil filter. So products can appear very visibly in search results and within the Google profile. And actually, Google wants more, whether it's photos, I think we're going into photos. Google wants more audio visual. Google wants more things they can track, more things they can understand. So the more content that you're adding, whether you're adding a Google update and talking about a new event coming or a new product coming out or a new service, even if it's just a simple video, a 25-second video now can become the primary image for your brand. There's a donut shop I like in Hamilton, Ontario, and they just did a pan across all the donuts that were for sale that day. They were the only donut shop for about 4 months when you searched donuts in Hamilton that all of a sudden you could see a selection of their donuts that were visible. A couple finally caught on after a few months how to do it, but anything that moves, anything that it can give Google more data about your business is definitely a positive. And adding more updates, adding more content, and not leaving your profile the same. Setting it and forgetting it is probably, just like with a website, is probably the worst thing you can do with a Google profile. You want to be checking into it on a regular basis, and you want to be adding more content, adding more photos. Perhaps it's snowing out today, but there was some beautiful weather last week. If you're going to be having lawn furniture, you want to add it a little ahead of time so that Google can understand it and then rank it properly and put it in the right context. It doesn't always happen overnight with Google, although I've had people say, I added something today, it didn't appear.
Well, Dave, you opened up the Ron Popeil envelope for me, but wait, there's more. So much I learned from Ron back in the day. So the video, if I do a video of your donut shop, will my video show up there, or is it the business owner has to submit that video?
It depends.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, the ultimate marketing answer, it depends. If Google understands the customer's video better, it could appear as the primary content for a page.
Okay.
And the same with the cover image. If a customer has never put a cover image up on a page, your customer's photos could appear as a cover image. There was actually a recent investment advisor. They didn't realize that their clients have been uploading photos of them on vacation to their Google profile. So this gentleman who's trying to sell mutual funds and financial services, his primary photo was grandma and grandpa sitting in a bus.
Yeah.
Not quite
It's not the brand photo. It did work in a sense of, hey, that's a couple that could have. It was a happy accident. They could be his customers, but imagine if he took a picture of them walking onto the plane, and that's the one it chose. It was, and I'm sure it's the AI that chose when it looked through it to say, "Oh, this must be a picture." But yes, it was a happy accident, but it was definitely an accident.
Well, and the client, the business owner, had never actually uploaded content or photos to his profile, so Google had a photo, so they uploaded it, and it became the primary image for an investment advisor.
Well, and the reason Dave's in today is it's a drum that's been beaten for a long, long time. This is a set it and forget it application that people do. They don't update photos. They don't add content. They don't add. Can you still do posts to Google?
Yes, updates are still around. There may be some changes. There's been some indications, and actually, one thing we haven't mentioned yet is you can add your social profiles.
Because it's pulling from that now too.
Yeah, and some of the indications are, and this hasn't happened yet, so don't quote me yet, but they may be getting rid of Google posts and taking social media posts and putting them on your Google profile.
And the reason I should iterate to everyone, the reason some of the questions are they able to do this or not? Google will test things and then they'll just take them away when they decide to, and you have no idea. hey, can we still do this or not? You used to be able to have your Google business page, which would be davesroofing.google.com, roughly speaking, and yeah, they just phased that out. They're just like, nope, they're gone.
So Google basically took 20 million websites away from businesses, free websites away from businesses in North America. So there's a lot of small businesses. Some of them may not even realize their website's now gone. So that there's an opportunity for you for a basic website that you can offer. But if you haven't been updated, if you've been ignoring those Google emails that come out every week or two, this might be a time to just make sure that everything is on the way you want it to be on your profile, that the hours haven't been changed, that the photo isn't in an inappropriate one, which could happen if you had an auto repair shop and there's some guy stuck on the side of the road with an angry fist and an angry face. That might not be the primary photo you want for your Google profile.
Oh, exactly. Now let's go back one step to reviews, Dave. And just I want, this is going to be another Instagrammable moment. When people give you a review, whether positive or negative, should the business owner reply? How soon? And let's not talk about a fake negative one. We'll get into that next. But reviews, whether they're 3, 4, 5 star, or 4-star or 5-star, what is the responsibility of the business owner, person managing the GMB, Google Business page?
Whether it's the owner or a manager of the Google profile, the one thing that Google wants you to do, and to be honest, our mom and dads taught us this when we were kids, when somebody gives you something, you say thank you. So if somebody spends the time and takes the time to give you a Google review, perhaps leaving a photo as well, the polite thing is to say, thanks a lot, we look forward to working with you again. Even if it's a bad review, you still want to reply, because a lot of people search the 1-star reviews to see how the business treats a negative review. And the easiest way is to have the customer reply to you you want them to say, you know what, let's take this offline. Let me try that again. The one thing you can do with a bad review is to try taking the problem offline as soon as possible. So if somebody has a problem with a product or one of your services, just in your reply to the review, you can say, please give us a call. We'd like to resolve this for you as quickly as possible.
Bingo. And I was hoping that you would go there, because people want to see, as a business owner, how did you reply? Everyone knows there's forgiveness built into our society. They know that Dave's Snowplowing Company, which is now Snowplow, is not going to be there all the time at 5:45 before I leave for work, because it was a heavy snowfall. And they know that I, as a customer, I could be one of those customers that's just, I get mad at the person at the Tim Hortons drive-thru, I get mad at the person at work, and I get mad at the person plowing my laneway. We realize that. So when it says he wasn't here, I had to shovel myself out, that gives Dave the opportunity to come back and to shine, to address the problem. Hey, sorry that you had to go through that. We had all the trucks out on the road. We did manage to get to your place at 7:15 to make sure that it was clear for everyone else leaving and clear for you to get home. And then he could say, if there's a specific time you need it done, please call the office and we can put you on a preferred schedule. And then right there, as a person maybe looking for that service, I might see Dave's response and go, you know what? Stand-up guy, stand-up company that addressed the problem head-on to service the upset customer. That's the type of that's the type of company I want to deal with. Maybe not the snowplow that has 97 5-star reviews, if you know what I mean.
Well, and there's one little thing as well. As I recently started working with a client who got really emotional when he got negative reviews.
Ooh.
And he offered a little bit of sarcasm, which doesn't do well with new Canadians.
No.
And he basically was berating the people that left the reviews. Now, if you looked at the 1-star reviews and saw that the last 5 1-star reviews this company had received, the owner of the business was talking back and talking down to the people that left the reviews, you may not even go to that business. In fact, you probably won't even press call, or you won't ask for the directions to get there because you're already nervous about getting to that business even before you get there.
Perfect. Now, Dave, Instagrammable moment number 5. I need you to look in there and to tell the people what to do or not to do when they get a fake bad review of a person who's never been their client. They leave them a 1 star. There's no picture on it. You look up the reviews, and there's 4 other negative reviews. So it's something is amiss, and I want to get it removed. I'm calling you, and I'm like, Dave, somebody just left me a 1 star. This is the worst company ever. I've never dealt with this. I'm going to reply and say, hey, I don't even know who you are, and all that kind of stuff. And what are you going to say?
Well, if somebody leaves you a bad review who hasn't been a customer, there's 3 dots when you're replying to reviews in the top corner. So click on those dots, click report review. If the person has been insulting, or if they've threatened you, or if they even said, I had a recent business that said I was in the parking lot next door and not even at the right business. Google sucks. That was the entire contents of the review. So we were able to report that review, and sometimes it's within a half hour, sometimes it's within the next day or so. They can take a look at the content of the review. If they find out that it's not within the standards of leaving a review, it can be removed sometimes very quickly. In fact, recently a review was removed half an hour after I reported it. So if it is a legitimate, fraudulent, or an illegitimate and fraudulent review, you can have it reported and removed by Google.
Now, to the people that are still watching this saying, but what's the big but? But what if I go, you're not even, what if I reply to that review and I say, hey, fake customer, and then I go to report it? What happens?
You want to make sure that you report the review before you reply. It has happened occasionally that you can get a review deleted after you've replied, but you definitely want to make sure that you report the review before you reply to it. Once you've replied to it, you're acknowledging to Google that it's a legitimate review because you're replying to it. So don't reply to it. When you get that bad review, take that deep breath in before you reply with how you may really be feeling. Press the report button if it's a defamatory or insulting or aggressive review, and it can be removed very quickly.
Which is also why you want to have a review campaign, because if you have 97 reviews of 4 and 5 star and 1 is a 1 star, you're still going to be at a 4.65. If you have 6 reviews that are 4 and 5 stars, and then you get a 1 review, now you're going to be dipping possibly into the 3s. And I've had a customer that this happened to. He had 2 reviews, and then he had 1 as a 1 star, and it dropped him into the 2s. And he's like, and he replied to it. He goes, "How do I get rid of it?" And it's like, unfortunately, at this point in time, you can't. We've already submitted numerous times to Google. Google is not interested in removing it. Google, as long as and you said this, if the review is not malicious in with its intent, and it's not salacious, and that if it's just a review that said, I ate there, I would not recommend anyone else eating there, the service was bad, Google's going to look at that and go, it's a review. It's a bad review, but you just got to learn, you got to lump it.
Google doesn't care if it's a 1 star or 5 star. They want more data about your business.
Yes.
And their preferred avenue for getting more information about your business isn't yourself, it's your customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you saying it's a claim, but me as a customer saying it's validation for that claim.
And even though we don't know the 500 people who left those other 5-star reviews, we still trust them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Dave, we're down to the end of the cup. I think that's going to be the new timer, is when we get to the bottom of the cup, the show is almost over. So let's just wrap this up quickly. And that for those who are still listening and they're like, Dave, that was like 45 minutes of a lot of stuff.
Wow.
I just started my business. I've just put my name up there. What are the first couple things that they could do to help themselves out with the most impact?
Pardon me. The number one thing you can do is start getting reviews as soon as possible. Reviews with a little more content than just a 5-star endorsement. You want to start adding content. You want to fill out your profile absolutely completely. So go on a laptop, sign into your Google account, fill out every single section of your Google profile, your products and services if they're available. Make sure your address is consistent, your name, your business name, your address, your phone number, any other way you want to be connected. Sometimes even a website's incorrect. So you want to make sure your website is exactly the page you want to be sending people to, and then start adding more content. You can add photos right away. You can, once you're verified, you can have updates. There can be products. Services would be the number one thing as well, because a service is directly can directly affect how people see your business within 24 hours. So as soon as your profile is verified, you can start getting appearing in results, and then just make sure consistent reviews, ask for reviews. And if it's a big ticket purchase, like we were talking about for businesses, if it's a big ticket purchase, don't just send them a form text or a form email. If it's been a $10,000 or $20,000 purchase, a phone call, a personalized email is the most effective way to get information back from someone saying, hey, you know what? You can help me out with my business that's just starting up by leaving a 5-star review and telling people about your experience with my company.
There you go. Dave, how do people follow you for this great information? And I know you drop it all the time. You've got a drip feed that's going till the end of the year. So how can people follow you?
You can search David Hills or D Hills Sales on LinkedIn. You can also search D.Hills Sales on Google. And I have updates all the time on Google, on LinkedIn. And even if you're a client of Trevor's, reach out to Trevor and we can work together as well.
Yeah, David's been you've been quoted in some pretty big magazines as well. So as my British friend says, he knows his onions. I don't even know what that means, but he says it. Again, thanks again to Seventh for providing us with a nice cup of joe for our conversation. And we look to being back for our next podcast on Over Caffeinated in a few weeks from now. But any questions that you have, by all means, get a hold of me. Make sure that you're following David. He's got some great intel that he continues to drop. Oh, and if you're a fan of airplanes, David is your guy. So everyone, have yourselves a great day, and we'll chat with you on the next podcast.
Have a great day, everyone.
That's a good one.
There we go.
That was a good
See,
show.
I was trying to keep airplanes out of it.
Yes. No, that was a good show. I can't actually tell how long it was because Josh started the camera early.
That's okay. So we didn't start right away.
Nope.
It's already 1 o'clock. Did I go on there for an hour? I didn't go on for an hour, did I? You can edit me out.
We were yammering on for a bit, but no, it was it was good. I don't want to stop this. I'll let Josh stop it.
Hi, Josh.
No, that was good. I'm excited.
I like that red breast. That was good. I got a shot at the label.
Well, do you know what happened? I did I mention it to you that I went to the LCBO and I said, oh, do you have a bottle of red breast? And she's like, we do. No, I